All right, chapter 1, test review. Just like for the quiz review, I'm not really going to do much of any lessons here. If you want to review lessons, you can go and check out those videos that should be up now. But I'm basically going to go through all of these. I'm going to walk through saying things out loud of what exactly I'm doing. First things first, if it helps you, you can write some stuff at the top of your paper if you can't remember it consistently. Like, for example, PEMDAS, reverse PEMDAS, and that addition, subtraction, and multiplication, division are grouped together, or any of the positive negative rules of if you have a positive plus a positive that equals a positive, if you have a positive plus a negative, or a negative plus a positive, that goes subtract bigger number sign, or a negative plus a negative, that's just add, and then sign is negative. Or for a multiplication division, a positive times a positive, or a negative times a negative, because they're the same, they're going to equal positive. Or a negative times a positive, or a positive times a negative, because they're different, they're going to equal a negative. You can always write things down. I'm not gonna penalize you for it. That doesn't impact me, but if it helps you to at least remember it the once, so you can write it down on top of your paper and then just reference it every single time you go through these. But that being said, let's get started. So, solve each equation. This means all of these have just one variable, so you're going to solve for that variable. Here we have just p. What else is on p's side? Minus 8, so we're going to add 8 both sides. P equals negative 4. Here we have b divided by 9 equals 6. We want to isolate b. What's happening to b? Divide by 9, opposite of division, multiplication. So we multiply both sides by 9. B is equal to 54. Over here, negative 2 plus 2v equals 0. We have kind of multi-step. Reverse PEMDAS, addition, subtraction first. Add 2 to both sides. 2v equals 2. Now you can divide. No more addition, subtraction. V equals 1. Now here, with the distributive, we have two different ways you can do this. I'll write down both. So, one way is to just distribute like normal. Multiply the negative 2 to everything on the inside. Plus, it's plus here. Negative 2 times k equals 22. Negative 10 plus negative 2k equals 22. Adding a negative, same thing as subtraction. So I'm going to simplify this to just negative 10 minus 2k equals 22. Addition, subtraction first. So get rid of the 10 first. And divide both sides by negative 2. K equals negative 18. Now the second way, we move that to the side real quick so I have more room, is noticing, hey, negative 2, it can go into 22 evenly. So I'm just going to divide both sides by negative 2 because it's technically being multiplied. So we have negative 2, negative 5 plus k, 22, divide both sides by negative 2. I think this is still wrong somewhere. Negative 5, plus k equals negative 11. Plus 5 plus 5. K is equal to negative 6. This isn't right. I went wrong somewhere here. I know where I went wrong. Because over here, a negative times a negative, that is not a negative, that's a positive. So this should actually be positive 10, which means that's a positive 10, which means we're subtracting 10 from both sides, which means this should be 12, which means this should be 6. Okay, there we go. That's fixed now. Next one. So two different ways to do that. As I always say, I think this way is safer, because that's only if you notice that what can go outside goes into the equals, whatever it's equal to evenly. So just distribute. Never hurts to do that anyway. Absolute value stuff. Remember absolute value. You have to split it into two different equations. 1, where the inside the absolute value bars is equal to the positive. 1, where the absolute value bars is equal to the negative. And you just solve both like usual. So m equals 7 over here. Add 6 both sides. M equals positive 5 over here. And like I said, if you're nice to me, you format your answer like this. 7, 5, and then you box your answer so it's easy for me to find it. Same thing as over here. N over 2 equals positive 2. N over 2 equals negative 2. We're multiplying both sides by 2. Those cancel. N equals 4 over here. Multiplying both sides by 2. N equals negative 4 over here. So n is equal to 4, negative 4. Two different equations. 5a equals 15. 5a equals negative 15. Divide both sides by 5. A equals 3 over here. Divide both sides by 5. A equals negative 3 over here. A equals 3, negative 3. Two equations. X minus 3 equals 7. X minus 3 equals negative 7. Add 3 both sides. X equals 10 over here. Add 3 both sides. X equals negative 4 over here. So x is equal to 10, negative 4. Still some absolute values. Two different equations. 1 minus 5a equals positive 49. 1 minus 5a equals negative 49. Minus 1 both sides. Negative 5a is equal to 48. Divide by negative 5. A is equal to 48 over negative 5 over here. Minus 1, minus 1. If you hear my stomach, my apologies. I'm hungry right now as of recording this. So for this one, the answer is A equals 48 divided by 5. Technically, more convention. You try not to have negatives in the denominator. So it's the same thing as having this. Negative 48 over 5, 10. Same thing over here. 9x minus 1 equals negative 73. Oh, it's a negative. If you remember, absolute values are a distance. Distances can't be negative. So here, it's just no solution. This one, split into 2. 2n plus 6 equals positive 0. 2n plus 6 equals negative 0. What's negative 0? It's just 0. 0 can't really be a negative. So this would be the same thing as 2n plus 6 equals 0, which is the same thing as what we have over here. So we don't even do a second equation. We just do one. Minus 6 both sides. 2n equals negative 6. Divide by 2. N equals negative 3. When it's equal to 0, there's only one solution, one number. More absolute value. Negative 8 plus 4k equals positive 36. Negative 8 plus 4k equals negative 36. PEMDAS, addition, subtraction first. I'm going to do both of these at the same time. 36 plus 8 equals 44. 4k, negative 36 plus 8 equals negative 28. Yeah. Divide both sides by 4. Over here, k equals 11. Over here, k equals negative 7, I think. Yeah. So k equals 11, negative 7. Now, solve each equation for the indicated variable. If you remember, this is how I said these would be formatted on tests and such for literal equations. What am I solving for? X. Where is X? Right there. So I'm just going to change color. Why not? Multiply by negative 4, but subtracted 2. PEMDAS, addition, subtraction first. Add 2 to both sides. U plus 2 equals negative 4x. Multiplication, division next. U plus 2 equals negative 4x. With all these conventions, it's better. I'll still accept this, but I would prefer would be good to get used to. 1, variable on the left side, so x equals. 2, no negative in the denominator. How do you get that negative out of the denominator? You just move it upwards, but you're like multiplying the entire thing by that negative. So over here, it would be like x equals parentheses negative u plus 2 is 4. Because, real quick, this is the same thing as u plus 2 over negative parentheses 4, right? So you're just doing the same thing, just moving it up here. And that's going to equal to negative u minus 2 over 4. So the perfect answer is this. But I'll accept this if you really want to. Fine. Next one. Here we're solving for a. A is right here. We're going to do addition subtraction first. Get rid of whatever doesn't have a. In this case it's 1. Add 1 both sides. G plus 1 equals negative 2a. Divide by negative 2 both sides. G plus 1 over negative 2 equals a. Math convention. A equals negative g plus 1 over 2. So a is equal to negative g minus 1 over 2. Here, solving for a. A is right here. So we're going to subtract m from both sides to make sure a gets on its own. So z minus m equals a. A equals z minus m. Done. Here we're solving for a. A is up top already. So u equals a divided by k. What else is here? It's being divided by k. So I'm going to multiply both sides by k. Those cancel. K times u equals a. Math conventions. A equals, and then for another one, variables being multiplied, you just keep them in alphabetical order. So ku. Next one. Here we're solving for a. A is right here. This one's a little bit more tricky. If you remember from the lesson, here we have a in a denominator. We don't want it in that denominator. We want to get it out. And 3a is the entire term. So what I'm going to do, we have negative 4, 3a equals negative n, negative p. I'm going to multiply both sides by 3a. Now you have negative 4 equals 3a, parentheses n minus 3p. Divide both sides by... Actually, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do the entire term. My bad. You can just multiply both sides by 3. Or by a instead. And just leave it as a negative 4 over 3. And then you divide everything by negative n, 3p, negative n minus 3p. This one's a little bit tricky. Because if you remember, if you have a fraction and you're dividing it again, you have negative 4 over 3 divided by, this is essentially 1 over negative n minus 3p. If you can remember from when we divide by fractions, it's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal, or what is the flipped / what makes a fraction into 1. So this is the same thing as negative 4 by 3 times negative n cp over 1. It's negative 4 negative n minus 3p over 3, right? Because you multiply across the top, across the bottom. 4 times all of that above, I'm just rewriting to be the parentheses. 3 times 1 is 3. So for this one, a is equal to, so those cancel, negative 4 parentheses negative n minus 3p over 3. That one's a little bit more rough. So I'm going to move these to down. Or am I going to move these? I'm going to make it smaller. And just like move it right here. Just to have room for the other things. Alright. Another way you can think about it, of this whole process, is because you're dividing into a fraction, just move it to the top. Move it to the very, very top. That's the same exact thing. Actually, I'll leave that there. Why not? Next one. U equals B plus 3A minus 1. We're solving for A. We need to get rid of the things that are A. So I'm going to subtract B from both sides. U minus B equals 3A minus 1. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. U minus B plus 1 equals 3A, and then divide by 3. Math convention, variable on the left, A equals U minus B plus 1 over 3. All right, last two, almost there. G equals AC plus B, solve for A. A is right there. What's happening to it? A times C minus B. Addition, subtraction first. So we're going to make this green. Add B both sides. G plus B equals AC. Divide both sides by C to get A alone. Math convention, A equals G plus B divided by C. I'll write that better. That's a B. 20. Last one. We're solving for x. X is in the denominator. Same thing as 17. We want to get it out of the denominator. So we multiply both sides. I use parentheses by x. One on top, one on bottom, those cancel. K equals x, parentheses U minus V. Divide both sides. That's V, sorry. V minus W. V minus W. Math convention, x is equal to K divided by V minus W. And that's it. Just to go over all of the answers real quick. Number 1, P equals -4. Number 2, B equals 54. Number 3, V equals 1. Number 4, K equals -6. Number 5, M is equal to 7 and 5. 6, N is equal to 4 and -4. 7, A is equal to 3 and -3. 8, X is equal to 10 and -4. 9, A is equal to -48 over 5 and 10. 10 has no solution. 11, N equals -3. 12, K equals 11 and -7. 13, X is equal to -U minus 2 over 4, or U plus 2 over -4. 14, A equals -G minus 1 over 2, or A equals G plus 1 over -2. 15, A equals Z minus M. 16, A equals KU, or K times U. 17, A is equal to -4 times parentheses -N minus 3P over 3. If you really want to, you can distribute this, but I'm not going to make you do that. You don't have to. 18, A is equal to U minus B plus 1 over 3. 19, A is equal to G plus B over C. 20, X is equal to K divided by V minus W. So, if you have any questions even after looking at this, if you have my email, you can email me. If I see you in class, you can ask me. Otherwise, feel free to leave a comment. And that is it for this review. Good luck.